Who's going to win, Fury or Usyk? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Puncher's Chance podcast with myself, Sam Hill, and of course I'm always joined by
Harry Tovey
and
Ben Thomas.
Lovely. So Harry, we'll start with you again. How was your weekend?
Good. Woke up in a very good mood on Sunday morning.
Oh, I wonder why.
Not because of the boxing. CM Punk returned in WWE. I don't know, Ben.
I watched that Sunday morning as well. I couldn't stay up for it, but
No.
You also woke up in a good mood, didn't you, Ben? Because you spent a whole weekend watching rugby, which is of course
He
your
watched the
favourite
proper sport.
yeah, it's a bit of a change for me. But I was happy anyway because Cardiff got the late winner. But yeah, I spent my Saturday at rugby, which is a bit different. Doing a bit of photography, but yeah, I enjoyed it, to be fair.
He was asking himself, why are they passing the ball backwards?
Well, so obviously this week we've had a slightly quieter week in terms of boxing than our first one, but there was still some good fights. Unlike last week, I think we get straight into the previews, the reviews of the weekend's fights, starting with the Welsh national Liam Williams on Friday night. Had a big fight, obviously a comeback after a little while out. What was your boys' thoughts on the fight?
It's not really much to talk about, is it? Round one stoppage.
Yeah, I think this might be... We will probably spend longer talking about the fight on the podcast than he spent in the ring.
Yeah, most definitely. Florin, Cordy's... Well, he's coming back. What was it? 2 years ago he fought Demetrius Andrade in Miami. Then he fought Chris Eubank in Cardiff. And, he's had back-to-back shows, fights now in York Hall. So hopefully now, 2024, he can get that fight with Hamza Shiraz and... maybe start moving back into it and, fighting bigger names.
Yeah, it probably wasn't, well, like you said, we'll go on to, but it wasn't what he'd hoped for, really. It was quite a quick stoppage. I think he said it was 364 days out.
Mm-hmm.
We probably need a few more rounds to get the ring rust off, but it was a good performance considering he hasn't fought in a year, but he said he's been training all year. You could see that. He was still very comfortable in it. And obviously with the next fight now with Shiraz, I think he's 18-0. It's not going to be an easy fight for him. And he's, like I've said before, I think he's in a bit of a crossroads of where to go next now. But yeah, I think if he gets through that one, he could probably set up another big fight then.
I think it's a tough one. It was not a lose as such for him, but it's quite hard to come back after that long, and either you pick too easy a fight and you end up battering them in the first round, or you pick too hard a fight and everyone goes, or is he all that, or maybe even you get a surprise loss. But he did what he had to do. He come in, he won, he left, and he didn't get hurt from it, so he can pretty much get into any fight as soon as, I suppose.
It was an 8-rounder, wasn't it? And he wanted to get some rounds into him to get rid of the ring rust, but
Yeah, I think that's what he needed, but obviously he didn't really have much in terms of competition. But yeah, hopefully gets our next fight now with Shiraz, gets through that hopefully, and then we'll have to see what's next for him then. But he doesn't really seem to have anything like a sort of next challenge, but hopefully he gets that set up.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously he has to get through Shiraz first, which isn't going to be easy.
Yeah, and did you guys watch any undercards on that one, or are you all about the main?
I was watching the weigh-in for that Saturday night's fight with Jamal Charlo.
Jamal Charlo, yeah.
He weighed in, what was it, 6 pounds over?
Yeah, and then it was 6.6 pounds heavier on the second time in. I mean, what did he do in that gap? Did he go back into the changing room, eat a bunch of food, and then come back out?
Are you allowed to leave the arena? Are you allowed to go back? Because in the UFC they have like a 3-hour period of where fighters can weigh in. I don't know, boxing obviously have it, but they can't leave the arena, I don't think, UFC fighters. So maybe he went back, had a warm bath, but by the sounds of it,
he should have got his brother in. I reckon if he just got his
other brother,
got his other brother in to weigh in. I don't know if he's heavier or lighter, but it might have been a better effort. But obviously he still fought in the end. Did you guys watch that fight on the Saturday, or did you catch up in the morning?
I caught up with it. You could probably tell the difference. He had the extra power in him, obviously, with the weight advantage. It's always going to be there. Yeah, look, like I don't think he's fought in a long time, to be fair, but he still looked very comfortable in it. He got the job done, really. But
yeah, it was a good performance. He got the unanimous decision in the end. He didn't get a finish, which with the significant weight advantage you'd think maybe he might have been able to do. But yeah, I think it was a good performance from him. And then you obviously had after that you had Hector Garcia, Lamont Roach. Actually, I think that was the headliner of the fight, but I was more interested in the Andrade Benavidez fight. I don't know about you boys, but
yeah,
I thought the Benavidez Andrade fight was really interesting. It didn't go how I thought it was going to go. I think Andrade started better than I thought he was going to, and it seemed like it was going to be a pretty much one-way fight. And then, I mean, it was a pretty I think it was rounds 4, 5, and 6. Benavidez just turned it on him and just started sticking on him. Obviously got the 6th round towel throw in the end.
He wants Canelo next as well.
I think he's not guaranteed, but he's more or less guaranteed to get that fight.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get that fight, and I think Canelo maybe put something on Twitter about wanting the fight, but I might this might be fake. You never know these days. But yeah, I mean, do you think he causes Canelo any? Do you think anyone in that weight division causes Canelo any problems at the moment?
No, Canelo's on a different level.
I think
compared to anyone.
Since Canelo lost to Floyd, it's just been like he's just a different beast. I think he took a bit of time out to learn some head movement and some defense, and after seeing what Floyd could do, and he was like, oh, okay, sound. And he's come back, and no one can touch him. He wasn't particularly impressive against Jamel Charlo last time out, but he was still a far better fighter.
Yeah, he's like a different animal, really, and there's not many people that can deal with him. He's got everything. He's got the movement, got the power, and yeah, I think Benavidez was very good on the weekend. He strong performance, but I think stepping up against him will be a different challenge.
He's quite a lengthy fighter though, Benavidez. I'm guessing, maybe he seems quite tall, quite long. I don't know if that's a problem that Canelo might have to come face with. He is quite a small guy, but I just don't see anyone beating him at the moment until a couple of years down the line and he starts to maybe slow a bit, or he just decides to step out the ring altogether. But yeah, he seems to have a pretty firm hold on that division.
I think if that Benavidez gets that fight against Canelo early 2024, it could set up I want to see Canelo Bivol.
Yeah.
Is it? I want to see the rematch of that, because that fight was really good, and obviously Dimitri Bivol won it. I think it'll be a good fight for Canelo, but he wants to redeem himself. He couldn't redeem himself against Mayweather. Obviously Mayweather might want to fight him in 10 years time when he's an old age pensioner, in the ring, but nah, Canelo, he's a different beast.
When do we think Mayweather stops doing these fights? Is it when he finally has some money, or do you think he just does it because he can just get in the ring and pretty easily just dispatch people?
Yeah, I think it's just, he's obviously now putting himself up against people he knows he's comfortable with beating, but if it makes him that kind of money, then I suppose it's hard to keep turning it down, and really, if people are going to offer you so much money to have a fight that you're comfortable in and going to win, I can see him doing it probably a few more times before he stops.
Yeah, I mean, it would be worth it, wouldn't it? We'd all do it. If I offered you 200 quid to fight, some year 8 kid, would you do it?
I would do it for 200 quid. I would do it for a pack of quavers.
You'd fight an underage child
for 200 quid.
200 quid is 200 quid. You know what I mean? And then obviously we got the big fights on Saturday. Do you want to go straight into the main card and then talk about the undercards?
No.
Or can you hold your?
We could talk about the main event right now. I think Have you got the clip from last week when you two said that Cameron would win? And I said that Taylor would win.
Yeah.
Is this your time to make an apology?
I think you've got me wrong, because I think what you'll find is Taylor's a Leeds fan, and so I obviously would have supported her. There's no reason why I ever would have made the mistake to go against her.
Cop out.
I haven't got the clip to hand, and I don't imagine you do either, which, in my eyes...
I don't, but I do. I've got a very good memory.
Yeah, I do. We do owe Taylor an apology of some form, because we did write her off, both me and Ben, and I don't think you explicitly said on the podcast.
No, I wanted her to win. I'm a massive fan of Taylor, and I think she's probably the greatest women's boxer of all time, and she showed that on Saturday night. She showed, she's class, and hopefully she gets the bigger fights now in Vegas and Croke Park, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good performance to make up the deficit from the last fight, to keep Chantel Cameron's jab pretty much silent for the whole fight. I think, obviously you can say she was leading with the head, she was, clinching, holding, all of this stuff that people are accusing her for, but the ref didn't call them. If the ref's not calling it, you're gonna do it. And she got in close and she nullified that jab, and it made it a pretty damn good scrap for everyone to watch, as well as I was gonna say to be part of. Maybe not. Maybe she would have wanted a slightly easier fight, maybe, but it was one hell of a fight.
Yeah, it was a really good performance. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. I thought it'd be closer than the last time, but I thought Chantel Cameron would have enough to win again. But like I said, she was leading with the head a lot. Didn't really get pulled up on her, and I think she made the most of the home crowd advantage. I think that definitely helped. You could tell, like we spoke about with the commentators and everything as well. It was quite swayed. I think it did really help her. It was that nasty cut, I think, early in the fight. I think it was third or fourth round. I'm glad it didn't get stopped for that, because it wouldn't have been a great way to end it. But yeah, it's probably up there, one of the fights of the year, to be fair.
Are we going to talk about that round one with that potential knockdown?
So Harry, obviously, do you think knockdown? Do you think it should have been scored, or do you think it shouldn't have been?
That's a good question. I personally think her foot was on her foot. Cameron stood on Taylor's foot, and then she was off balance, and still she connected with her, but it was put her off balance. So I wouldn't have scored it a knockdown. But even if he did score it a knockdown, I think the fight would have finished 94-95 Taylor. Then they would have had that draw, which judges, and 96-93 Taylor. So I don't think, this round one, everyone's up in arms about it. I don't think it would have had a massive implication of what the final outcome was, because Taylor was just incredible, and that home crowd, wow, fair play to him.
Yeah, it's hard not to step up and scrap when you've got that behind you every time you, like, even there was exchanges where I thought Taylor got whacked and Cameron didn't really get anything, but the crowd made it seem like it was the other way, which maybe would have played into the judges somewhat. But I think the knockdown was harsh not to be given, because I don't know how much of an impact or how much she really stood on her foot in terms of, if someone stands on your foot, it's not going to cause you to fall over necessarily. I think she's caught with a good punch. I don't think the ref knows she stood on her foot. I think the ref saw it as a slip rather than a knockdown, which it wasn't. It certainly wasn't a slip. It was a knockdown. Possibly you could say she stood on her foot, but I don't think the ref saw that. I don't think that's why he didn't score it.
Yeah, I think when I first seen it, I thought it was a definite knockdown, and I was wondering why they hadn't given it, but after rewatching it, I think you can see where she stood on her foot, and even though she did catch her with a shot, I think if she hadn't stood on her foot, I think she would have got out of the way for that shot. So I can see afterwards why they haven't given it, to be fair. I think, yeah, it's harsh really, because like you said, it could have had an impact. If she lost that first round 10-8, could have had an impact later on in the fight, but it's the way it goes, I suppose. And
yeah, I do think maybe, I'm not going to say that if that knockdown was scored that it would have been a different fight, but you go into the second round 10-8 down,
pressure's on.
What's happened? Yeah, I think the pressure would have been hard. You'd have maybe started pushing more, so having to make that 2-round gap up, and maybe Cameron could get the stoppage or something. But we're talking big if, buts and maybes there. Ultimately that didn't happen. The ref didn't score it, and they played to the ref, and the fight happened, and Taylor got the pretty much certain victory that she deserved.
She won. I don't think there was any I don't know if she did it, but
where was the I was going to note down the ref that got the draw. I'm sure you have, Harry. You love to call out a ref on the...
No, I didn't write...
Or the judge, sorry.
Listen, if Taylor lost that, I think I would have had the referee's name down, where he's from and all that, but no, listen. Fair play to Katie Taylor. Chantel Cameron, I think afterwards Eddie Hearn was saying that her team walked up to Eddie Hearn and said, we're never coming back here again, but I think Cameron, she's smart, which I think she is. She'll definitely go back to Ireland, fight her in a trilogy, hopefully at Croke Park. Obviously there's all these issues of Croke Park over in Ireland, but I think Chantel Cameron would be an idiot if she didn't take the trilogy in Ireland, because that's where the mega money is. And yeah,
I think every home crowd has a home crowd advantage, But to suggest that there was anything other than that going on with that and saying, oh, we're never coming back here, seems a little bit harsh and a bit downplaying on what was just a very good performance from Taylor. I got the sense Cameron a little bit was frustrated throughout the fight, and so she almost didn't try and work out her way round it. She just kind of got annoyed at it. Like she tried to constantly trap Taylor in the corner and have her in the corner. And any time she got her in the corner, she looked to have some success. But then Taylor just, she got her way out of it, got in close, moved out, and it seems that Cameron didn't have an answer for that. I think she just kind of got annoyed at the fact that she was leading with the head possibly, or was holding her in the clinch. But they all do it.
Everyone does it.
Everyone does it. It's the dark arts of boxing that makes the difference between the goods and the greats, isn't it? It's what people do. And to downplay what will go down as an iconic victory this year, and possibly even,
It's one of my fights of the year, so it's
definitely up there.
The first one was up there as well, but this one has just topped that, and wow.
What we'll have to do is after the 23rd, we'll have to do a pod where we rank all of our top fights of the year.
We'll all start arguing then, and we might not come back in the new year.
Yeah, and that's it. The podcast is over.
I can't believe we're back for a second episode, to be honest.
Yeah, we've done all right. Before you know it, before next year, you'll just see a tweet of a fight night, of a triple threat fight. Me versus Harry versus Ben.
Yeah, we'll end up getting on one of them misfit cards, I reckon.
Yeah, white collar boxing. So yeah, that was the big main event, and then you've obviously got the undercards as well. I think it was Reece Mould versus Cully, I think was the next.
That saved the undercard, that fight did, in my opinion. I've got the other fights on the undercard weren't really much to...
See, I thought the Donovan fight was impressive. I thought it was a really impressive performance from Donovan. I thought he was really, really good.
Yeah,
he goes by the nickname The Real Deal, and I think that pretty much was what it was. He looked seriously, seriously good.
Yeah, he did look decent, to be fair. Was a good what did he get, fourth round TKO?
Fourth round TKO, yeah. I thought it was a really odd decision from Bull to just try and walk down a southpaw with your head. It seemed like an odd choice because he has got that lead hand.
Yeah.
And it is a pain in the ass when that southpaw has that lead hand jab and just keeps popping it out. But then he seemed to be walking him down with his head, which as far as I'm aware isn't a particularly effective technique. But yeah, Donovan looked really, really good. Good combos. Got the finish. I think it was a hook that dropped him, a left hook that dropped him. But yeah, I thought that was a really good performance, but maybe not necessarily an incredible fight. But like you say, I think the Mould Cully fight was a really, really good fight. I didn't really know which way I was to score it. I don't think I was particularly taking a score when I watched it. But it had that air of sort of, I wonder who will win this at the end, which is always nice when you sort of are a little bit unsure.
Yeah, they're enjoyable fights, to be fair, when they back and forth. They go to a decision. It's I enjoyed it. Like I said, I don't know if every fight on the card was great, but I'm probably got overshadowed a bit by what was an amazing main event. But yeah, that fight was a good one, to be fair.
Was there a heavyweight fight on the card as well? I think there was.
Yeah, there was.
I'm not too sure. I didn't take notes for the other fights for the exact reason you said, if they weren't.
Yeah, they weren't the best, but that one
interesting. I thought Mould was going to get the finish, to be completely honest. I think it was the second or third round. He had him pretty much where he wanted him, and he looked like he might get the finish, but Cully showed his chin. He ate the punches, and then obviously came back and overall got the victory, which I don't have any split decision, but I haven't got any qualms against that. I think it's fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other fights on the card that you guys have any particular interest in?
I'm just so happy the Katie Taylor won because you
and me both.
If I could read out the WhatsApp group, which I'm not going to, but yeah, when that came through, what did I put? The Marcus Rashford celebration.
yeah, got to be.
And done. Ben went straight away. I'm going to read it out. I apologise. I was wrong. You didn't come back to us, mine, for a good 7 minutes, and you just came back. I don't recall saying anything.
I was my girlfriend was driving us back. We were out with some friends, and I was watching it in Weatherspoons in the car. Weatherspoons in the car. I decided to wait until I'd until I had a cold shower, collected my thoughts, because obviously I was over the moon at Katie Taylor, Leeds fan, winning. I'm looking forward to whenever she gets her chance to do the lap of Ellen Road. I'll make sure I'm there and I'll video it for you, Harry. As long as Ebony Bridges isn't there, because she was there last time they got Josh Warrington to do a lap of the field, and I wasn't happy.
No, I'm just happy that you two got shushed after last week. I was the different one, but I've been made out to be the one with the boxing knowledge.
I think
Stick with me.
If you'd made a bigger point of it on the podcast, I'd say fair play. But, as far as the listeners are aware, you were pretty agnostic about the whole thing.
Listen, my heart was wanting Taylor to win so badly, but my head was also saying, you know what, Cameron has got power, and she is a very good boxer, but yeah, happy days.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's history now.
To be fair, I was wrong, but in the end I'm probably happy to be wrong, because it's probably going to set up that trilogy now, which I think everyone will want to watch our fight again.
We're talking about the atmosphere inside that free arena. What was it? 16,000? Croke Park. 50,000 plus sellout. Hopefully the Irish government can do a deal with Eddie Hearn, because I think in the past, Eddie Hearn wanted to do Taylor Serrano in Croke Park, but because of how expensive it is, and if it is the Irish government, which I think it is, they are taking away Katie Taylor's dream, and she deserves a big fight in a big stadium in front of a home crowd. Serrano possibly next, but I think get the trilogy over with, because it's an unbelievable set of fights we've had with Cameron, and then possibly finish your career on the main strip in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand against Serrano. I think that's probably the best way to end it.
That's a pretty good call. And I think that also segues us nicely into the next segment of the podcast, where we're going to look at some audio clips from the world of boxing this week. And I bumped it up to the start so that I could get that lovely segue in. We're going to look at what Eddie Hearn had to say about Taylor after the win, and about Croke Park as well.
Well, if they are, I don't care, because she deserves everything. She's made you so proud tonight. She's made us proud. Katie Taylor is a 2-division undisputed champion, the greatest night in the history of her career. And I'll tell you something now, and I know we say a lot, but for everybody out there, everybody in Ireland, the Irish government, Croke Park has to happen. It has to happen.
So yeah, that's the pretty emphatically put by Eddie Hearn on that issue. Obviously, he said that she's done and proud, that she's the 2-division undisputed champion. I think it was. Did he say she was the greatest of all time? There was lots of I've watched loads of interviews, and I tried to try and pick which one to include, and it was just constant Eddie Hearn talking very highly of Taylor. Do you think that's probably fair?
I would call her the best female boxer on this planet at the moment. In the week, it was a lot of firsts for her in this rematch against Cameron. She walked first to the ring, never done that before in her professional career. She hardly did any sort of media. And then after that fight, I've never seen her so emotional. Celebrating. She had Ed Sheeran, talking to Ed Sheeran through the ring, and yeah, happy days. I'm so happy for her.
Yeah, to be fair to her, not just with that fight, and obviously the first time she's coming out second, everything you've said, to get the win there, but also all she's done for women's boxing and women's sport. She was the reason why women's boxing got into the Olympics. She's done so much for the sport. I think she deserves that big fight. She deserves that chance at Croke Park to go out the way she wants to, really.
Well, she's made history in the past as well. She was first female fighter to main event, obviously, at Madison Square Gardens against Serrano first time round, and Serrano's gone on to fight 12 3-minute rounds for the first time in the history of female boxing. So hopefully, possibly that last fight with Taylor could be against Serrano, where they do go 12 3-minute rounds, because imagine if that fight was 12 3-minute rounds on Saturday. I think there would have been a stoppage there, maybe, especially in that first round.
I don't see why they can't do it, but hopefully, moving forward, especially with these big fights, they will get the opportunity, and I think she deserves that big fight.
100%.
Lovely, and that moves us on to we'll stick with Eddie Hearn so we can get him out of the way nice and early.
I love Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, I do like Eddie Hearn.
Have you seen him before we do it? Have you seen him with this Charlie Parsons? His interviews. With
I
Charlie
haven't,
Parsons.
no.
He just takes the mick out of him all the time. He was doing a post-fight interview with him, and he just out of nowhere called him a tennis ball. You know, taking a mick out of what he's wearing, and also, yeah.
No, I do like Eddie Hearn. I was watching, like I said, loads of his stuff this weekend, trying to pick out stuff from the podcast. And my girlfriend goes, "Who is that guy?" And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And I was like, "He's Eddie Hearn." And she's like, "No, but he's just." Is he always there? I was like, yeah, pretty much. That's what he does. He's just there, and he talks and he says. But he's a good laugh. And we'll put that onto what he had to say about Tony Bellew stepping into the jungle just now.
Bellew is going in the jungle. Your thoughts are?
Just wants a quiet life. Just wants to get home to his kids, and you know.
Will you be watching?
Yeah, of course. But you know, I mean, Bellew is one of the nicest, one of the best blokes, one of the most loyal people you could ever meet. I think he'll come across really well. I think he'll do really well.
Yeah, I did laugh at that. What he had to say at the start about just wanting to have a quiet life with his kids, because I think I was saying it to you, Harry, about how Bellew said when he retired, he was like, "You'll never see me again. I'm going to disappear. I'm just going to be a family man. Anthony Bellew is my real name. Tony Bellew is just a boxer." And I think I've seen him more than most active boxers since he's retired. I mean, he did SES Who Dares Wins. He's always popping up on telly with something.
He's a pundit now, ain't he? So, yeah. No, I'm so happy he's in I'm Celebrity. I think when I saw him coming through those doors for that Scare Arena thing, whatever they were doing, I was like, oh my god. Because I think, what was it, Derek Chisora was calling him out at the Day of Reckoning press conference, and he was like, "When are you going in the jungle?" And he said, "Well, I'm here," and he quickly flew over. You know, fair play to him.
Yeah, I don't watch the show myself, but he is a very entertaining character, and if he wants to do stuff like that, why shouldn't he really?
The drinking trial.
Yeah.
Oh my god, apparently they were saying it took 2 hours to film because he was just throwing up continuously. It's unbelievable.
I mean, you do need, for the show, you need people like that are just willing. Like, if you've been punched in the face over and over again, I don't think you're going to be too asked about much.
Yeah.
Maybe if they stick him with a bush tucker trial with some snakes or something, we might see the first ever fight in I'm a Celeb between Tony Bellew and
might
whatever
see the first ever boxer
animal.
in I'm a Celeb cry as well.
Yeah, maybe.
He doesn't like heights as well, and tonight's trial is heights, and he's been taken off because of medical grounds. So maybe.
What medical grounds is that?
Yeah, maybe in his contract he said no heights.
Yeah, fair enough. And then next on in the audio clips of Week of Boxing, we'll go into Liam Williams talking after his fight on Friday night. I'll pop that one on just now.
Congratulations, that was a bit of a blink and you miss it. How did you feel in there?
Yeah, it was over quite quickly, wasn't it? But it's just one of those things, caught him with a clean shot and down he goes, game over. But I'm a little bit gutted, to be honest with you. I was planning to get, a couple of rounds, blow some cobwebs off. It is what it is, it happens like that with most people. Once I hit them clean, they really get back up. So, I'm just happy to get the win.
I liked what he said there with the once I hit them clean, they hardly get up. It's a quite a good way to put it. But do you think that the disappointment from him is fair, or do you think realistically he's gone in there and he's knocked the guy out, he's done what he had to do? I mean, obviously we understand his frustrations with wanting to get some of that ring rust off, but do you think it's fair for him to be so sort of outwardly frustrated at that, or do you think he probably should have just gone, yeah, it was a good performance, move on?
Well, a lot of fighters, they have a camp for 12 weeks, some of them do, and half the time they're obviously he's going to be disappointed because he was probably expecting more from his opponent, but there we go.
Yeah, like you said, when they're in a camp for such a long time, training hard, giving up everything else to focus on that fight, when he's gone in, he's probably expecting at least to get a good couple of rounds under his belt after a year out. But at the end of the day, it is a good performance. Like you said, it was a good stoppage. Caught him with a very good shot, and I think he just needs to set up what's next for him now.
Lovely. And then talking about, these segues are just if I say so myself. Talking about setting up next fights, we've got Josh Warrington talking. I think this was in the build-up to I forget now one of the fights, but he was talking about the Lee Wood fight and the possibility of a rematch as well.
I'm hoping that the rematch can be made. You know, Eddie Frank this week has sweetened me up, give me the things that I want to hear, but ultimately that decision comes down to Lee. Now he wants to fight the City Ground and he's got options available, but with that there, he's going to want the easiest fight possible.
Now, that was the easiest fight possible. Do you think that's probably fair, or do you think that's a little bit harsh on Lee Wood from Warrington, suggesting he wants a nice, easy fight in the City Ground?
I think it is harsh because at the end of the day, he is the champion. I know in the last fight, he probably had the better of Lee Wood, but he did get beaten. I'd like to see the rematch because I thought it was a really good fight, and I think if he's a bit smarter next time, Warrington will probably look to avoid that shot that ended him at the City Ground. I think it is a good fight to be made. I think it'll either be between that or Joe Cordina. I think those are the two really they're going to be looking at.
Joe Cordina next for Lee Wood, and then Josh Warrington, he shouldn't be looking back at Lee Wood. I want to see him in against Michael Conlon. I think that'll be a good fight.
I think for Warrington, I think it's just the fact of how that fight went that is why the rematch is so. And sometimes in boxing, you have the storyline set ahead where you go, he's going to fight this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and then something like this happens where you maybe expect him to have dispatched Warrington pretty easily, and he didn't do so, and so Warrington obviously wants the rematch. I mean, realistically, I think the fight will probably end up going where the money is rather than what's the best for the sport, unfortunately. And whether that's Warrington or Cordina, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you talk about boxers planning where they're going to next. On Saturday night, Joseph Parker was on the punditry team, and he was talking about the 23rd of December, saying he's talking to Eddie and saying, I'm going to cause a massive upset and I'm going to ruin all your plans and all. And I think in boxing, it's the one sport where you can't look ahead. I think you have to just look to your next fight and then obviously talk, because look what happened to Fury. We were meant to have Fury Usyk this year. It's meant to be on December 23rd, but he obviously looked over Francis Ngannou and paid the price for it.
Yeah, I think with Lee Wood, you got Lee Wood, Warrington, all them really. There's so many different fights you can make. I think them two probably will end up being most likely to fight again at the City Ground, because Cordina, you could put Cordina in there, but also he's got the potential fights elsewhere with the other champions like O'Shaki Foster and Navarrete as well, and obviously Michael Conlon who's fighting this weekend. I think it depends on how he gets off this weekend, whether he gets thrown into the mix of a potential fight as well. So I think there's plenty of options there.
Well, Joe Cordina, he was on Friday night, he was at the Cardiff Arms Park, so maybe he's not going to get that fight night at the Cardiff City Stadium, but maybe at the Arms Park he might get his dream come true to fight in a stadium in Wales. But maybe
it'd be a shame to stick him in the Arms Park. I think he's a big fighter. He's got
nothing wrong with the Arms Park.
No, I know, but it would be nice to see him in something a bit bigger, wouldn't it?
I think the reason why they might not do it in the Cardiff City Stadium is probably the football season is probably still going on. So
it's gonna have to, if they're gonna put it in the Cardiff City Stadium, it's gonna have to be in the summertime, obviously, when the football isn't on, and they've got to give the club enough time to relay the pitch and everything if it is to be used. So I think it's just with Cardiff Arms Park, it's going to be easier
4G.
to set it up.
Yeah.
They do Warrington Wood and then look to do Wood Cordina in the summer. Possibly would that work out timing wise?
Well, I think they should
too quick a turnaround.
Cordina Navarrete. If you want the Lee Wood Josh Warrington, we'll do that again, because I wouldn't mind seeing that again. And then that sets up a massive fight, either in Nottingham or in Cardiff. That's still a massive mega fight between Cordina and Wood. Sorry, my mind went blank then. Jesus. Yeah.
Lovely. And then moving away for our final audio clip, moving away from the proper stuff, as some would put it. We're just going to touch on some influencer boxing. We had last week, as we were filming the podcast last week, actually, the Tommy Fury KSI. What's the word I'm looking for?
Appeal.
That's the one. Was going under, and and obviously we'll see the result of that soon. But in the meantime, we're just going to look at a clip of Vidal Riley, KSI's ex-coach, talking about Tommy Fury and poking a little bit of fun at him as well.
Fury's Tommy's lucky. They even said
look at the way they were celebrating, man.
Yeah, they know he was lucky, man. And it shouldn't have been like that. When you claim, I've been boxing all my life, I've been sparring the world champion, heavyweight champion of the world.
And his dream since a little kid is to hold a world title.
He ain't holding nothing, boy. Who's that little kid that was running around, who's at the show? No, that one, Hasbullah and the other one.
Oh, yeah,
That's the only title you're going to hold, mate. What he was holding.
So yeah, I thought that was fun just to laugh at Tommy Fury again, because the general opinion is he's not. I mean, he is a professional boxer, but he's not. He's never gonna be a world champ, is he? He's never gonna get close.
He's a celebrity boxer. He ain't a professional boxer, is he? He has no interest in fighting any professionals. He's seen the money side of things now. He probably wants to fight Logan Paul. He probably wants to fight. Well, apparently he's rumoured to fight Roy Jones Jr. in the new year. So he ain't coming back for a world title anytime soon.
Do you think he has Hasbullah in a fight? Do you think he wins that fight?
No, I put my money on Hasbullah.
Yeah, I think Tommy Fury's a professional in the sense that Jake Paul's a professional technically. You know, if you do professional fights,
the difference
you're
between,
a professional boxer, but that doesn't make you a good one.
Yeah, but the difference between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury, when Jake Paul was on Disney, he had no intentions of boxing. He wanted YouTube. Tommy Fury was in the gym. Obviously, then he went on Love Island, and everything changed then, and he became a social media star. And yeah, he there is no way on planet Earth that he becomes a world champion. But you know, we obviously had Vidal Riley. That's a good fight between Vidal Riley and Tommy Fury.
I think Vidal dispatches.
It's one-sided, but I want to see it because it then shuts up the Fury name.
It would be nice to see Tommy Fury get hit in the face quite hard and lose a fight, because he does pick on people that he feels that he can comfortably beat. And you know, we saw that with Jake and KSI, that maybe they weren't quite so comfortable after all. But yeah, Vidal would. I mean, Vidal's is it the English?
Something like that.
It's either the English or the British. Is it English champion? Obviously, I think he wants to move into British champion and stuff. He's a good boxer, and I think he quite comfortably puts Tommy Fury away. Lovely. So, would you guys? I'll leave this one up to you, Ben. Would you rather move into the previewing next week's fights, or would you like to judge a nice little debate me and Harry are going to have? And it's not about Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron, don't worry. We've had that debate.
Yeah,
off camera we've had that debate.
I want to listen to the debate, so we'll move on to that next.
Lovely. So this next segment is called Split Decision, which
ding,
is
ding, ding.
aptly named, where me and Harry are going to try and put our points forward to Ben, who's going to play the judge. You can silence us if we're going on too long, or you can mediate this however you like. So I'll hand it over to you, Ben.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I obviously don't know what.
Fury and Usyk. Let's do that.
That's the argument.
Fury and Usyk.
Let's do that.
But yeah, who wants to start off?
Sam,
okay.
you can go first. You can go first, Sam.
I think that Usyk beats Fury in Saudi Arabia for a couple reasons. The first of all, I would like to disband the point of Fury just being too big for Usyk, which I think everyone's saying, including Fury, about he's a cruiserweight, he's not a true heavyweight. The point is, Usyk has fought people heavier than him his entire career, because he is a small. Or once he moved into the heavyweight, he's fought some big guys before. You know, AJ, he's not a small guy. He made him look useless.
Chisora. You've
got John Fury himself coming out and saying that the way Tyson's currently boxing, loses in a fight to Usyk. So do you see Fury turning that around? I mean, this is a guy who got pushed around the ring by a UFC fighter. I'm not suggesting for a moment that Tyson Fury's not a great boxer. He is a great boxer, but he's not got the boxing, the IQ, the ability to outbox Usyk, and I don't think he has the ability to knock him out either, and therefore I think Usyk will outbox Fury. I don't think he knocks him out. I think he outboxes Fury for the length of the fight, and unless Turki Al-Sheikh has something to do with the scoring, I think Usyk wins.
No, you are talking out of your backside there. Fair play. No, Fury, he's too powerful. You know, we saw in his last fight, Usyk against Dubois, in my opinion, Dubois hit him with a very good body shot, and he was on the floor for about 5 minutes. Fury will be too heavy, and can he last 12 rounds with the power that Fury's got for the punishment that he will receive? I do not know, and yeah, I think Fury finishes him within... I'll give him 8 rounds. Within 8 rounds. I don't even think they see the championship rounds, in my opinion.
So you think he knocks out Usyk, or
no? I think he stops him. I think maybe Usyk might be too, as you're saying, Usyk's quick, but Fury's quick as well. He is. You've looked in the Wilder fight. He came up against a guy that was one of the most powerful punchers in the world. He was just slicking around. If you think Usyk can beat Tyson Fury, a cruiserweight, remember he is a former cruiserweight unified world champion, then I think you need to go and have a look at yourself in the mirror there, Sam.
So you think stoppage?
I think it's not one-sided, but I hope I'm getting this right. Like, I got this Chantel Cameron thing, Katie Taylor thing. No, I think Fury stops him, yes, but I can see where Sam's coming from, but no, there's no way on this planet Earth that happens.
I think the way I look at it is, you say that Tyson looks quick, and he does. But I think Andy Ruiz would look quick against Deontay Wilder. He's not. He's a stiff boxer, Deontay Wilder.
He only has one punch, Deontay Wilder.
Exactly, yeah. And I think you could put most heavyweight boxers in the ring with Deontay Wilder, and they'd look the slicker boxer. But the difference is Deontay Wilder didn't have the size that he has, and he still knocked out Fury.
Mm-hmm.
He did. He was.
Knocked out.
There was, on another day, Tyson Fury could have been called. That fight could have been called off.
Well, you think the referee started his count late or something?
No. When
everyone else on Twitter
he looked pretty out. I've seen fights ended on less. I'm not saying I would have ended the fight. I wouldn't have, but we've seen fights ended on less. So I don't think to say that he outboxed Deontay Wilder is a particularly big claim. I think the problem is Tyson Fury's outboxed people his whole career, and then he comes up against someone he can't outbox and is used to, all he does is fight people bigger than him. AJ, Deontay Wilder, people like this are used to being the bigger fighter. He's expecting, he's got all the stuff he needs to deal with bigger fighters, and that's why I think he will outbox Fury. I don't say necessarily he's definitely 100% going to win, but I don't see Tyson Fury outboxing him. So Tyson does need to get the stoppage to win.
So you think it could go 12 rounds and Usyk wins on points?
You think it's Usyk points?
Usyk on points. I think he gets a majority decision, because I think His Excellency might have something to do with
thank you to Turk Galashake. Yeah, thank you. No, I reckon Fury knocks him down early. All Fury needs to do is attack that body of Usyk. You're punching a cruiserweight body there with Usyk. It'll be how many pounds lighter will Usyk probably be?
So Usyk fought his last fight.
You've done research for this argument.
No, I've literally just got it up now.
I was about to say. I wish I came more prepared.
At 220.
220.
And Fury fought his last fight
against. Are we counting Ngannou as his last proper fight?
No,
because we're going to do the.
Because he did.
Dillian White.
I'm not going to do that one because he did look big against Ngannou.
Like being stoned.
Derek Chisora was at 260.
40. Jesus. Now listen, if you think Usyk's going to win on points, that's your opinion, but I can only see one-way traffic there, and I think Fury knocks him down early, potentially, because again he fought Chisora, finished Chisora. Obviously Usyk outboxed Chisora when they fought in lockdown, but yeah, no. Fury.
So Chisora was at 255 when Usyk.
Yeah, but the thing is,
beat him.
Fury's knocking out opponents that are the same weight as him, so they're a lot harder to hit. Usyk's gonna be lighter.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that he may that if Fury is able to make good contact with Usyk, that there's every chance that he stops him. But I don't think Fury's got the minerals. Plus, we've got to remember now, this is a Alexander Usyk that has been at war. He's been on a battlefield. What are you going to give? What kind of pressure are you going to put on a man less than bullets?
Yeah, he's been through it all, hasn't he?
So I think he's been through a lot, and I think in Saudi Arabia he's gonna outbox Fury the same way Ngannou did.
Ben, who won that? Come on, you're the judge.
You both.
What did you score it? 10-8 to me.
Both give a good argument to be fair. I'm trying to know. I'm still pretty undecided on.
No, you can't sit on the fence. You can't split this. You have to.
I will make a decision.
Make a decision.
Going off both arguments, I think Usyk is probably in terms of skilled, like hard, but the weight advantage as well. I think it depends on whether Fury can keep up with his movement, and in the last fight he come in at the heaviest he's ever been. I think he'll need to shift that weight in order to keep up with him, and the more I'm looking at it, even with the press conference, Usyk doesn't seem fazed as many other fighters do.
What's your decision?
Yeah, come on.
You've got to put one.
My arm is halfway up.
If it's not who you think wins the fight, then who gave the better argument for who wins the fight?
I'm gonna have to go with Usyk, I think.
You made yourself. You're gonna look like an idiot.
As one
or look like an idiot.
The two of us are going against you again. But
when are we going to be doing this next podcast on that fight? February 19th. You two are going to look like idiots again.
I took a leaf out of Turkella Sheikh's book there and slipped a few hundreds under the desk while
I'm about
Ben
to
was
say
deciding.
it's very one-sided. This podcast is. Good job, I stay by myself.
Well, speaking of one-sided,
do you actually think Usyk's going to win?
Harry's rattled.
I'm
not rattled.
I'm stuck in
my corner's throwing the towel in.
I agree with you with the point that he's going to be a lot heavier than him. I think if he does,
he's a cruiserweight.
If he does, yeah, but he's also been a cruiserweight against Anthony Joshua and the other heavyweights he's fought.
Joshua, you can't compare Anthony Joshua to Anthony Joshua.
Argument for a different day. I think Anthony Joshua's got a good chance against Fury anyway. And Usyk has already gone through Joshua. And after the last few fights that Fury's had, I just think I don't know whether he's on a downward trajectory.
Yeah, that's the way I think I'm seeing it. I don't know whether it's fresh doubts necessarily, but in recent fights it hasn't seemed like he's been able to work out people as well as you'd perhaps hope he could. Like we said, Deontay Wilder's a one-dimensional fighter, and he still was able to cause Fury problems. And I think you had that, and then he could have lost to a UFC fighter. He couldn't work out a guy who's been boxing for a handful of months. I'm not saying necessarily that Usyk is 100% going to beat Fury, but I have questions to Fury's boxing IQ and his ability to work out Usyk in the ring based off recent performances.
But are you taking that last fight that Fury had with Ngannou seriously, or did he just go there to Saudi Arabia for the dollars?
Yeah,
for the money.
There is a pinch of salt there, because I don't think he
was overlooking him. December 23rd was in place. We're talking about day of reckoning with AJ and Wally and Wilder and Parker. The main event then would have been Fury Usyk. That would have been the greatest card of all time. But you two thinking Usyk's going to win? Oh, God.
Well, we'll move on to maybe something we can all agree on. We've got the fights coming up this week.
Gavin Gwynn
kicking off. Yeah, Gavin Gwynn versus Emiliano Marsilio. I don't know if you've looked through this guy's record at all.
I have.
Yeah.
He's only fought once outside of Italy.
Yeah. Back in 2012,
which was he beat somebody for a. Who was going for
he won by a TKO.
Yeah, and he's an unbeaten fighter. He's an undefeated fighter, which is it's saying something. But ultimately, I've got no idea who's going to turn up in that ring against Gavin Gwynn. I think
I've never heard of him.
I've never heard of him, but you look on his boxing record and he's 42-0, and you think, who is this guy? Could he cause Gavin Gwynn problems, or is Gavin Gwynn going to have the minerals to stop him?
No, obviously with the record, it looks impressive, and he's only well, hasn't been beaten. He's drawn once, but like I said, he's only fought once outside of Italy, and he'll have the experience. I suppose he's been in there. He's done plenty of rounds, but I think Gavin Gwynn should have enough to get the win, and I think he needs it for his career, really, for the next step, win this European title, and then move on and see what's next. He's obviously only lost twice himself. He lost against Cordina, which probably the best Welsh boxer out there.
And Tennyson?
Yeah, James Tennyson as well, Northern Irish. That was for the British title.
Well, Gavin Gwynn, he's held both the British and Commonwealth Championship, so he's going for that. Because what is it now? Win the European. What do you do then? Do you look to defend it, possibly in Wales?
Yeah, I think probably a title defence is needed in it, and then go in from there. Probably whether he wants to take a step up,
world level.
Yeah,
I can see it. I can back him for a world level world title fight.
Yeah, I think if he can win this weekend, then he does set himself up for a pretty
bigger things,
an upward trajectory. I've just seen on here the guy he's fighting is 5'6.5". I think Gavin Gwynn's around about 6 foot or so.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a significant reach advantage on him. I think he does win based off the fact that I've got no idea who this guy is, and I do know who Gavin Gwynn is, but could there be an upset there at York Hall, or do you think it's one of those where they've put him in there because they know it's a fight he can win?
Well, it's for the vacant, so he obviously deserves to be there, but Italian boxers, I think they're known for being tough, so it's not going to be easy. But I think, I'm looking at all the social media posts that Gwynn's posting. They're quite good. He's looking in pretty good shape, and also, I think he's going to win rather comfortably.
Have you seen all the stuff that Marsili's been posting? Have you seen any of that?
No, has he been posting?
Yeah, it's just stuff of him, and then there's just Rocky music constantly. Everything has Rocky music. This guy has got something going on upstairs, and that's why I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't like that. I like knowing what people are about, but let's be real,
especially when it's a Welsh fighter as well. You want, obviously you're English, but me and Ben's from Merthyr, we want
he's a Merthyr boy. Yeah.
You want
I'll be fully backing him on the weekend.
100%.
I went to go watch Merthyr Town. I count. Close enough.
Yeah, I nothing wrong with Merthyr. Nothing wrong with Merthyr. I do like Merthyr, fair play.
And then obviously we've also got you touched on it on the Saturday. We've got the Conlon Gill fight, as well as who Harry described as a boy in the last podcast, Ryan Garcia fighting Oscar Duarte in Vegas. We'll start with Ryan Garcia because I've got some strong opinions about Ryan Garcia. Do you think he's up there with as a great, or do you think he's pretending a little bit?
What do you think? You're dying to say.
I don't think he's very good.
No,
he looks good on pads, but so can anyone. I could, you could go into a gym now and spend 2 hours learning one thing with a boxing coach, and you can look quite good on pads, but it doesn't make you a good boxer. He's a highlights boxer, but not even in the ring. In the camp, he just showed, look, my hands are dead quick. But I don't. Fair play to him. He's doing well for himself, but I don't see him ever causing, Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevens, anyone like that, any problems in that division.
I mean, the last time we saw Shakur Stevenson, he didn't look that good, did he? So.
But I think Shakur Stevenson could outrun Ryan Garcia, which is what he's. I think maybe he should move into that, Shakur Stevenson, become a runner instead. Just look how quick I can do. Look how quick I can do a laps of the ring.
Pretending to be doing stuff, yeah.
Yeah, Prime have actually signed him as an athletics star rather than as a boxer. We'll go on. So, Conlon versus Gill. You obviously got that card on the Saturday as well. I'm just
fighting former European champion Jordan Gill.
Obviously, I know exactly who's on the card. I'm not scrolling through the boxing schedule to see who's on the undercard.
To be honest, there's only one. I think they're all local fighters on the undercard, ain't they?
Yeah.
Back-to-back shows ready in Northern Ireland. He's obviously last time he fought in Belfast, he lost to Luis Alberto Lopez, and this will be, of course, Conlon's first fight back with Eddie Hearn after leaving Top Rank. So, and he's also left his time trainer Adam Booth, after that defeat to Lopez, and he's now got a veteran coach in Pedro Diaz in his corner. So, you know, Gil as well, he's coming off a loss as well last time out against Kiko Martinez. He's what a legend he is, Kiko Martinez. Finally retired now as well. Fair play to him. Obviously, this fight is probably, I wouldn't say it's a career defining for both of them, but I
think they need
a win.
They both need to win.
Yeah.
To set up, like we obviously said with Conlan, he could set up those fights even with Lee Wood or something maybe. But I think obviously both of them coming off the back of defeats against both tough fighters they were fighting against. They both got stopped. Michael Conlan got stopped in the 5th round. John Gill got stopped in the 4th round. But yeah, I think it is a must-win fight for the both of them, and fights like that tend to be the most entertaining because you know they're going to get it and then give everything.
The home crowd's going to probably play another factor in this fight for Conlan. But you know, I want to say Conlan wants that Warrington fight next. You know,
yeah, I think I've seen some sort of talkings of that, and if it is to be Cordina, Wood, Warrington, Conlan, there's those 4 fighters, you could mix them up more or less anyway, and it would be an interesting fight. I think I don't really have much interest in watching Conlan, Wood, Warrington, Cordina necessarily, but not for any other reason than I just prefer the other fights.
And if Conlan gets through this, you know, he could fight Cordina at the Cardiff, but
Cardiff Arms Park.
Yeah. Now listen, Conlan, I think he gets Jordan Gill. You know, in his last fight, Jordan Gill, he got put down in the early rounds, got put down twice in the 3rd round, and in the 4th round had the towel thrown in. So yeah, he's 27-2, and he hasn't fought since last October. So what's that? Bloody hell, quick maths. 14 months ago. Yeah, sorry.
Almost, yeah.
It's early in the morning.
Yeah. So is that your call? Your because I think we should make a habit.
We should make a habit of making predictions. One big prediction. I go by the one fighter, you two go by the other fighter, and then I prove you wrong, and we do it again. I think that's how we're going to do it.
I think the problem with this one, which way are you swaying, Ben? Because I'm struggling to disagree with Harry for once.
What?
Yeah. Oh my God. I think we're all going Michael Conlan, to be fair. I think he'll have enough to, especially with the home crowd advantage. I think he'll push him on. And he'll get the win, and then.
Do you know what we'll do then for the interest of the podcast? I'm gonna be a devout Emiliano Marcelli fan for the next 7 days. And when he fights Gavin Gwynn on the Friday,
I was gonna ask Gavin Gwynn to post this on his Facebook group. So Gavin,
shit.
I know where he lives in Cardiff, mate. If you want him, you can have him. He's in Cathay somewhere.
That's what you think.
So you're Italian now. Friday night you're Italian.
See.
Saturday night you're going to be supporting Jordan Gill.
See.
Okay.
Arrivederci cappuccino.
Por favor.
Bon voyage. Oh wait, no, that's French.
Is that por favor?
Per favore.
Oh my God.
What about the
got the accent down?
Garcia fight?
I do. Unfortunately, I think Garcia probably wins, but I think it's going to be
100%. It's just to get him reignite his career now and build his confidence.
I should set up the fight with Shukasi.
What I do in my head when I watch Garcia fight is I imagine, the toys out of Toy Story, the little aliens that squeak when you. that sound effect plays every time he throws a punch. If you imagine that next time you watch him fight,
I'm going to watch it Saturday night.
It's perfectly entertaining. Do you know what? I'm going to spend far too long on Saturday editing that, just so I can show you guys what goes on inside my head. But no, I don't. I see Garcia winning, unfortunately. But I don't think I think he's going to find himself sitting in that gap between the boxers no one really cares about in the division and the greats in the division, and I don't see him ever causing the top end fighters in that division any problems.
Maybe
really.
He took that Gervonta Davis fight too early, but we'll never know, because he did beat Luke Campbell obviously back in, when was that, 2020, 2019, so he has fought some big names, Ryan Garcia, but yeah, it's one-way traffic Saturday night. Ryan Garcia win, either stoppage or by decision. I'll go Ben.
Yeah, I'm going Garcia.
We're all agree. Are we all agreeing? We've all agreed on.
We've all agreed on a lot today.
Yeah,
we've put our differences past us.
Best friends.
The only thing we're not agreeing on is the.
The Fury. Wow, listen.
Is the Gavin Gwynn?
I'm still swaying either way with Fury Usyk.
But you can't sit on the fence, Ben. You're gonna have splinters.
I know. But
You have
I
to
think
pick
the closer it'll get, I'll make a decision.
You can't change your
but-
decision. Well, we'll ask you for who's going to win, Fury or Usyk. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Usyk.
See, listen, come a week before the fight, he'll be saying Fury's going to win, so we'll leave it at
possibly. So I mean, that wraps up all the sort of planned stuff we had for the podcast. We're sitting at just under an hour. Have you guys got anything else? Particularly, Harry, last time you spung out a little hate speech on Jarrell Miller, which was
we're
quite
going to say
entertaining.
we've got that podcast planned, so I'll leave it for that. But yeah,
did you ever talk to your lawyers after the last one, and they've told you to calm it down a bit?
Calm it down a bit. Nah, my lawyers were fine. They were fine. They were quite happy with it, to be honest.
Fair enough. Lovely. So yeah, we'll call that now for the second episode. You can find it on Spotify or YouTube. And as I said last time, follow us on Twitter for all the updates on the fights as they happen, some opinions and stuff as well on there. Courtesy of Ben, we are very active on there. Anything else for you guys to say?
Just to finish it off, best of luck to Gavin Gwynn on Friday
come on,
night.
Gavin.
Merthyr boy, obviously, you want him to do well.
Yeah,
I do want him to do well, but I know Emiliano Marsili is a top end boxer.
He's coming for Christmas, is he?
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys
Come on,
everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you on another episode.